Welcome, all you beautiful souls. We are Kat and Ash of Empathetic Villains, and we are here to share our personal thoughts and opinions about our healing journeys and what we've learned along the way. Hi, how are you?
Peachy keen, how are you?
Oh, I'm living the dream. Kids go back to school next week, so that's very exciting.
That's exciting
Pretty
for
pumped.
you.
Can't wait to get them out of my house.
I bet your cats
Um,
feel the same way.
what's that?
So I bet your cats feel the same
Oh,
way.
yeah, they 100% do. They're like, please, can you make it quiet during the day? We're not for this, kids running around all the time. So, did you do anything fun this weekend?
Besides breaking my door.
Besides pulling your door off the literal hinges?
Literally just no, it's on the hinge, it's not on the
It's
frame.
not on the frame, right.
It's hanging on by the hinge.
Like, how does this happen? I feel like this podcast should just transition into the stupid things that happen to us on a daily basis.
I literally just opened it. It's not even a door that I use. Like,
Maybe you should use it more, and then it
no,
won't rip away.
No, because then the step, I'll break my ankle. That's why I don't use that side door because the step's so high. I end up rolling my ankle every time I step off of it.
Fair point.
So it's a death trap to begin with.
Great. Well, Kathy ripped her door frame out of the house, so that's exciting.
It was the screen door. It wasn't
Oh,
the
it's just
main door.
got it.
Yeah.
Got it. We went camping this weekend.
Yeah.
We
How'd
did.
that go?
Well, we went camping with like a lot of people, like my mom's side of the family, my dad's side of the family, like relatives, families from the other side. Like we had a lot of people camping.
My goodness.
And my dad had asked me if he could take the boys up early one day because he was going up early and he was like, "Oh, it'd be fun to take the kids up with me." I don't think he'll ever do that again. But they had a great time. They're a lot. They are a lot, and they don't listen when, like, they're excited about a new place and all amped up and, just seeing their cousins and stuff, they're like, you can't get through to them, so I don't blame him at all. It's a lot. But so my dad took the kids up early, Andy and I worked all day, we came home, and I was like, "Let's just make dinner real quick," because we had a meal kit thing we needed to make. So, like, "Let's make dinner real quick, then we won't have to stop on the way there, and then we'll head out." Okay, perfect. So we do that, we get the car all packed, we got to eat dinner together without the kids, which never happens, and then we got to drive in the car, listen to whatever we wanted to, chit-chatted the whole way up north. It was only, like, an hour and a half away, but got there, it was, like, 9:30 at night, so everything's dark, everyone that's with us is going to bed at this point, and Andy and I are like, "Well,
Party poopers.
we'll just set up our tent, and then we'll go to bed right away." And so we get there, I tell my dad we're there, the kids run out, "Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad." We start unpacking the car, and my husband looks at me, and he goes, "I forgot the tent."
I mean, it's good on him to admit that.
He was so
It's very
mad,
brave of him.
so mad, and I was mad for, like, 2.5 seconds, and then I started crying laughing because, like, okay, we only us 2 idiots without our kids, so we have, like, even more time to think about everything and nobody interrupting us. Only us 2 idiots would leave our tent at home, the most important thing you bring for camping, your shelter. So, he's all upset, which I mean, it was frustrating, but I'm crying laughing, and the whole night for the next, like, hour and a half, every 10 minutes, I just burst out laughing, and he's just shaking his head at me. And I'm sitting here going, "Dude, if you can't laugh about this, I don't know what to tell you. So by the end of the weekend, he thought it was pretty funny. But so my dad and my oldest had gone to bed. They were both going to sleep in my parents' camper because it had air conditioning. And I was like, oh, we're going to set up the tent. We're going to sleep in there. So, like 10 minutes later, I have to call my dad, who's now gone to sleep, to be like, hey, we need to sleep in your camper tonight.
Unlock your door.
So, yeah, that was our fun camping experience where we forgot our tent. Um, so thankfully, we did have the tent at home, which my mom was gonna bring the next day because she was coming up. She had to work on Friday. This was all Thursday. Um,
Tents are not cheap if you had to go buy one.
okay, so actually, I guess I didn't tell you this part, but we did end up going to buy a new one. So it's okay because we've been talking all year about buying a new tent because the one we had before, like tents are super weird. They call them
Yeah,
like a
true.
5-person tent, but like it's 5 people if you like lay on top of each other. Like you can't have a table in there.
Single room, because it's a single room. You gotta get the ones that divide.
Even the ones that divide, it's like you can fit 3 queen mattresses in here and nothing else. But if you have no clothes with you, no supplies, you're good. But if you like want to take anything with you, it sucks to be you.
I mean, I don't think they think that someone's gonna actually put 3 queen mattresses in a tent.
I just like, okay, but I don't think you, I guess I'm just like, how are you able to say that it's for 10 people or whatever when like literally only 10 people could just like lay down? That's it. You couldn't
Man,
have
it's
any.
like booking a hotel room on those stupid save money sites instead of going to the actual hotel page, and they're like, "Oh, 5 people can fit in this,"
And
but
it's
it's literally like
a
a
twin
king
bed.
size bed and then, like, a couch that pulls out. So, great, 2 people can sleep in this king size bed. The kids have to sleep on the floor, I guess.
An armchair you can lay on, kind of.
We're dispersing, uh, cushions from the
Building other couches.
"Oh, we have a pool, but it hasn't worked in 2
Right.
years." Cool, cool, cool.
So we did end up buying a new tent, and it's like a 10-person tent, I think, but it worked really good for us because we like camping. This place was really nice too when it had like outdoor, not outdoor, but like single standing bathroom areas all throughout that were gorgeous and redone and all tiled and really nice. And they had showers that were all tiled, really nice showers. So like I would love to go back where we went. It was a good family campground. Um, but the last couple times we had gone camping, it was a little tight for the 4 of us to be in there, and I think we had a 8-person tent at the time. But, like, we each bring a bag, and I bring a bucket with, like, sunscreen and aloe and, allergy meds and all that, and we bring
Your
fans.
fans and your
And
lights.
right, and it's like, okay, there's no way 10 people would fit in here, but the new one that we bought, I actually do really like. It's a lot taller, so we can all stand in it.
Oh,
Um
good.
so it's very nice, and we ended up really liking it. But it was the very funny thing that happened this weekend was we went camping and forgot the tent. So
I mean,
I told my husband that going forward, we're going to have like a checklist before we leave the house.
you should just get one of those rings, laminate a bunch of different checklists, leave
That's
them
what I
by
was
the front
thinking.
door.
I was totally 100% thinking that. I was like, oh yeah, laminate them, then we can use a dry erase marker.
Our brains are so organized in the moment,
Right. It's just like executing the tasks to do
and
it.
it's just ensue chaos
Right.
afterward.
Absolutely. Good intentions, but hot messes. But it was funny because a couple people in my family told me that they have done the same thing. So, like my uncle and his wife, they forgot their tent once when camping. Um, Somebody else
My
told
dad
me,
forgot his tent poles.
oh, that was
Uh,
what someone else said too. They forgot their tent poles once. So Andy didn't feel quite as bad afterwards.
I
He
mean, it's an easy thing to forget.
It's
It's
like the
like
biggest thing we have though, and you forgot.
but it's like the easiest thing to forget because you're like, "Oh, it's already packed. I don't have to think about it." Like,
Uh,
you assume that it's already there.
it was a good time. So that was very, very funny, and I couldn't stop laughing about it all weekend.
Well, I'm
But
glad you were laughing about it.
yeah, like I said, I was frustrated for like a couple of minutes, and then I was like, "This is too funny. Like this is
And
his
that's
thing,
on growth.
right? We're trying. We're trying." I was a little irritated towards my husband, which I shouldn't have been because he already like was beating himself up about it.
But now you recognize that from all the healing that you've done.
Yeah, yeah. And then everyone just made fun of him all weekend, but he had a great sense of humor about it. So we were
I'm
all
proud of him on growth too.
yes, he's doing great. So we had a great weekend after we got our tent and the kids, my gosh, there was so much for them to do. There was like a mini golf course and a like outdoor adventure thing that was like a pond that had all the stuff you can climb on. I don't know, they're
Ooh.
water floaty
Oh, yeah, yeah,
climbing
yeah. Like an
things.
obstacle course?
Yeah. The kids got to go on a BMX dirt bike track, which was pretty
Oh my
cool.
god.
And
Right up their alley.
yep, they had a blast. And then my husband and my cousin tried going on the boys' little tiny
Oh,
bikes
lord.
around the BMX track. I was like,
Were they wearing their helmets?
I can't remember. I don't think they were. Took a video of them because I wanted to, wait until one of them like fell and busted their face open so I could
Where was
submit it.
Safety Mark?
He, I think he was gonna try, but he didn't because I yelled at him and told him he couldn't because I didn't feel like taking him to the hospital.
I mean, that's fair
And he was like, "Fine."
because you can't drive the RV home, so
Right. Correct. So that was very fun. We had a great weekend, and I needed a couple days to recover from the weekend. That was a lot of peopling.
yeah.
Whew, a lot of peopling. So I was telling Andy that like in the future when we plan vacations, I feel like I should take the day after we get back off of work
Yeah, that's always smart.
because I don't know if it's just like the age I am now or my mental state, but I
The
need a
empath in you.
full day to recover from like being away from my normal environment and my normal people, and it's a lot.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot being around a bunch of people, plus you're outside in the fresh air and no, it's a lot, and it wasn't, like, a super cool weekend. I mean, it's better than the last year when you went camping, it was you were melting.
We were melting on Friday. Friday was really hot. Saturday and Sunday were great, but Friday was like I don't swim normally when we go do stuff like this. Like I'm not a pool person, I'm not a lake person. Like I'll sit out by it and then burn to a crisp, but um
Or take your friend on a death canoe trip.
that happened one time, get over it. But Andy had brought my oldest back for his first soccer practice. So he drove an hour and a half back so they could do soccer. And so I just had my youngest. And he's like, "Can we go to the pool, mom?" I was like, "All right, that's fine." It was so hot. I ended up jumping in there with him, which probably hasn't happened in since they were babies. So they thought that was cool. But oh my gosh, it was so hot. It was very, very warm out.
Did you remember all of your, stuff that you bought?
Did I remember all of my stuff that I bought?
The summer stuff that we found at Target? No?
I
I forgot
literally
what you bought. Oh, didn't you buy, like, a slip and slide?
oh, no, I didn't bring that stuff with. Target had, like, all their summer stuff, like, 75% off, so I bought the boys a 2-lane slip and slide for, like, $11. But no, we didn't bring it with. I didn't know what the situation with, like, hose and water hookups and all that jazz
I
was.
forgot that yeah, I forgot it wa I thought you bought, like toys, but no, and then I remembered it wasn't.
No, unfortunately. But no, they had plenty of fun stuff. They got to ride their bikes around the park, and Cam got to go fishing a bunch, and
It's right up his alley.
yep, he had a blast. So yeah, we had a really good time. I ate ice cream out of a cone for the first time in like a jillion years.
Are you?
It looked so good and it was so hot. So we went down and got ice cream. I think I had like 5 ice cream cones over the weekend.
Nice.
Yeah. So, if you haven't done something for a zillion years, might as well just pack as much of it into one thing as you can, right?
All right.
That's
Obviously.
how it works, right? All right. What are we talking about today?
I don't remember.
Cool. Good thing I wrote it down.
Good job.
So today we were going to discuss dealing with expectations.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
dealing with your expectations of other people, their expectations of you, and kind of how we are learning to transition when things don't go as planned, which is very difficult.
Really hard for neurodivergent brains.
I don't like when I like having a plan. I like coming up with the plan. I like making it work. And when it doesn't,
I overplan as much as I overpack. And is that perfectionist in you? Like I always come up like with worst case scenarios. So I have to have a solution for all of the scenarios that are playing out in my head.
yeah, yeah, I feel that. So why don't we start with chatting about expectations of ourselves, because that's my one of my hardest things to deal with is my expectations for myself are way higher than most people. I expect perfection out of myself. I expect nothing but 150% if I care about something, putting that amount into it. And it gets me into trouble sometimes because I expect way too much of myself and I try to exert myself too much, and then burnout happens and you crash and burn.
Well, right. And I think as much as your personal life and your professional life intertwine, like also for me, like I always want to give 110%. And then if I can't get it right, I have a hard time either finishing it or starting it if I don't have all my tools.
Mhm.
And then I think that also reflects as like group group projects, or if you're working on something with someone, like in your brain you're a perfectionist, so you are expecting them to be on the same level as you, so you're expecting something higher out of them because that's what you would do, but some people aren't like that. So I think just learning how to, as much as everybody hates the working in groups and group projects and team building, I think it is important. And I see why we had to suffer through it because everybody's brain works different. And once you learn to deal with those different scenarios, you can build your toolbox and now you know what to expect when people do certain things. But then you also have to learn, like I have to learn to let go and let people do their jobs. Like, and just let them do what they're going to do. You have to have trust in other people.
That's hard though.
It is really
I have
hard.
a really hard time with that. I I expect things to be correct. One of the biggest things that my dad instilled in me was we want to make sure things are on time and accurate, right? So that's something that he instilled me very early on when I used to work for him, and it was something that really stuck. And it's frustrating when your expectations are for people to be on the same level as you, and they're not. So you get things and they're not accurate and they're not on time, and then you're struggling to fix it. And sometimes we have way too high expectations of other people.
Right.
And I don't know if that's fair or unfair or what it is, but I think, at least for me, like if it's going to reflect upon me, then I'm going to have very high expectations for the people involved in whatever we're working on.
Right, but then that also leads you to have more stress because
Mhm.
you are it's not really micromanaging,
I
but
just
you're
can't
always
delegate it because I'm a perfectionist and I want it done correct.
well, right, which I think is part of building your team. Like, I know we don't always have choice of who's on our team and the projects people are doing, but I think that's where, like, learning to let go and give up control, even if it is going to reflect upon you. Because, like, for me, having that backup of, well, I'm just going to do it. And if it doesn't get done, but then that's not fair to the other people, like, on your team. So it is a hard place to be in.
It's hard too when your expectations of yourself are so high. Like, I think it's a good quality to have, to expect more out of yourself and to expect, you know, better from you or whatever it is, but it gets to that level sometimes that it's just unrealistic and you're setting yourself up for failure, and you can't always be a perfectionist and everything's. I'm a very black and white person, and I know you are too. Like, I don't want the gray. I wanna know. I think that's why we're both great with the whole, accounting world, because there are black and white things in accounting. There are specific things that have to be a specific way. Things need to match. That's the whole purpose of it. And
What?
it took me
Balance your books every month?
it it took myself so long to understand my brain. And I wanted to, after high school, I wanted to go to college for something that was creative because I wanted to be a creative person. And over the years, I've learned, like, yes, I can be creative. The kids and I will do crafts, or I'll make something, and I can sew a little bit. But I'm not, like, my brain doesn't necessarily work that way. My brain works, there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. And yeah, sometimes there's in between that give you the same result, but like there is stuff that is absolutely right and there is stuff that is 100% wrong in those circumstances, right?
Sometimes,
Well,
yes.
sometimes for our job, I feel like there's a
There's
lot
only
less.
one way to get to an answer sometimes.
Right. And there's a lot less gray because
Right.
things have to be correct. And I wanted to be someone that had a more creative brain, but I think that's something that needs to be in my home life hobbies,
Right.
because I succeed and I excel in a position where I have a set rule book and I have set tasks and I know what I'm doing and I feel confident in what I'm doing. And if you're going to tell me I'm wrong about something, there's an actual reason
Reason.
I'm wrong and you can explain it to me, not just, I don't like what you came up with. I can't handle
Right, redo it.
I can't handle that. Like, if you can explain to me why it's incorrect and how to do it correctly, we are golden. But if
Right, I think is that's part of the interior design program that I liked was the
Mhm,
space planning and the laying things out. Like, the finishing part was really hard for me
mhm.
because, again, you have to appease your teacher, not a specific client. So, you have a teacher and you have to
Also, let me
learn what
just
they like and learn what they expect of you, so you're not really using everything inside of you because maybe you have an idea that's way out here,
Mhm.
but you have to appease their ideas.
Well, and the thing that was so frustrating about the school we went to is all of those teachers were interior designers first,
Right.
and then they taught, so they, like, worked in the field, but I don't think they were set up to be teachers. None of them understood how to teach the material, right? At least
Right.
the ones I had, I felt that way. But I excelled in AutoCAD and
Okay.
advanced AutoCAD and the stuff that had rules on how you did it.
Right.
Great.
Well, and that's the where I struggled with was um the space planning or whatever. Like if you tell me something has to be 5 feet away from something, I'm gonna make it 5 feet away
Yep,
from
I got
something.
you. Fantastic. Done.
I got your ADA. But then like, well, don't tell me it has to be ADA and then tell me, oh well those are just guidelines. Well, do you want it to be this way or don't you? Because I'm gonna do it the correct way. Because I know what it's like walking through a store and not being able to get through the line.
Yeah, 100%. I It took me a long time to realize that. I wanna say honestly, in the last year, I've realized that the reason that interior design did not work out for me is because that's not how my brain works.
Yeah, my brain doesn't.
If I follow the instructions and I did it correctly, then it should be correct. You
Yeah,
shouldn't
I
be able to
mean,
say, "I don't like this, therefore you fail."
right. No, I agree.
So, that's
Give me a
one.
rubric. I'm good with rubrics.
It's one. I don't know. I get frustrated because I loved accounting in high school. Why didn't I just stick with that?
I
Stick with
had
what
no
you're good at.
idea that I could be good at accounting.
I don't know. It's just interesting to see the way things progress because I don't think I would change anything. I think that I learned important lessons throughout the way and everything, but also it's a little bit frustrating looking back and being like, "Okay, you should have followed a different path. If you would have, where would you be now?"
Oh, honey, you're talking to the wrong person.
But then I
I
also
replay these things in my
I know,
brain
I know,
all the time.
I know. I
It's
don't
just
know, but then I feel like things wouldn't have worked out the way they did, and maybe I wouldn't have met the same people in my life, and, you know,
like I said, everything happens when it's supposed to.
well,
Gotta learn those lessons. You gotta be in that team that really lets you down, and you have to build from it. And that's how you work through your expectations.
yep, it's true, and I think, your expectations of yourself and others change throughout your life.
Right.
Um, I would say my expectations, of, for instance, who I was dating back then changed to the expectations of what I expect from my husband and I expect for our relationship and what we've grown through together and um expectations of dating, I'm sure for you have changed, and I so sorry you have to date in this stupid digital world, and I wish I could just, like, rub a magic genie lamp and make you the perfect guy, but I
Speaking of expectations with that, okay, so expectations of a dating profile. Like, you
don't
put
lie.
in correct. Or be flexible if you don't believe in something that you wrote down. Or, update your profile every once in a while. Because when I'm reading your profile and it says um, something about you being 33 and your profile says you're 38 now, like, have you really been on this dating website that long?
Oh my
Which
god.
no judgment, but like update your profile every once in a while. But I think that's where communication and expectations go hand in hand because yeah, I could have a higher expectation of someone and someone might think that they're doing the best that they can in their mind. They're fulfilling their expectations.
Yeah.
But I think you got to lay out cuz like you and I worry. So like if
We
I'm
do?
if I'm talking to someone, like I don't have to talk to you 24/7, but like check in throughout the day or like say, "Hey, I can't talk to you right now. I'm doing this or whatever."
I
Like I
think
don't think it's controlling.
I think
It's
that's a
just
super good point though, because I think that's seen as controlling, but like when you break it down, because you and I have had these conversations a zillion times before. When you break it down, what you and I say is like, I want to know you're still alive and not dead in a ditch somewhere. That's why I'm asking, like, hey, where you at? Hey, how's your day? Hey, how was work today? Like, if you don't respond and I don't hear from you all day, you are obviously in some dire, terrible situation. That's all
that
that goes
or
on in
I
my mind.
think that you're just not interested in me and why am I wasting my time?
Mhm.
Like if you can go all day without talking to me, like not even a check-in, whatever. It literally takes 2 seconds to pick up your phone.
Well, in the whole communication part, like you said, can just text me and be like, "Hey, I'm on a job site today. I'm not going to be able to talk. I'll text you later." If you're in a relationship with someone, and like you said, you can't take, or even if you're just getting to know someone, and you can't take 10 seconds to like, okay, now I'm double thinking what I'm saying out loud though, because here's the thing, my ADHD brain is really bad with that. So I'm saying it, and as I'm saying it, I'm like, no, 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 because you do that sometimes. I will forget to respond, or I will read something and then get distracted and be like, "Oh, I really need to respond to that," and I'll forget about. I do this to you all the time where I'll go to message you and I'll see you've sent me like 15 things that I haven't answered, and I'll be like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I meant to go through all of that, but now that I'm back because I had to tell you something, I'll go see all the things you sent me."
Yeah, but you're getting back to me within a few hours.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about, like, all day. Like, if
Yeah.
you can't
I
well, okay,
sometimes
so
unintentionally do that, so that's the only reason I
which I'm totally understanding of that because I know that's how you are. Like, I don't take it personally
'cause, I'm
because I
just a
know
hot mouse.
but, like, if you open my message and then, like, you don't respond to me, I'm like, excuse me."
It's always because I open it and then I get distracted. If I'm at work, it means that someone came in my office and is now sitting there and is gonna be there for 45 minutes chit-chatting with me, or I'm at home and one of my annoying little munchkins that runs around my house asks me to do something.
But then, like, at the end of the night, you typically are like, "Oh, sorry, I
Yeah.
got distracted." Like, you communicate that. But, like so this is a story
Oh, boy.
that I just had. So this guy was messaging me, um, and he's like, "Do you wanna talk off off of here or whatever?" I'm like, "Okay." And, like, it was going really good, like, back and forth, like, talking. And then, like, I gave him I I don't like giving my number out because
People
my
are
phone,
creeps.
A, doesn't ever work in my office, and you're just gonna get annoyed because it's no service, so when it does go through, you get, like, 3 messages of the same thing. So, whatever. And I gave him different options on how to talk not on the app, which at that point, like, why can't you just talk on the app? It's the exact same thing.
Right, isn't it just like messaging any other way you would message?
Correct.
Okay, interesting.
Right. So whatever. So go through this whole thing and then
Can I
it
ask
start
one question?
yes.
Do you have to, like, pay for the app to, like, message back? Is no? Okay, cool. Never mind. I was
No.
gonna try to give them the benefit of the doubt, but
No, I
maybe
mean, some you do, but no,
I do.
I did you but this one you do not.
Okay.
Um, so he adds me on Facebook, and then I'm like, "No, I'm just gonna message him through Messenger, like, I don't need to be your friend to message you, whatever." So, I'm, like, trying to talk to him, and, like, I start doing a project, whatever, and he I'm not really worried that he's not responding because 'cause I'm assuming he's at work too, right? Right?
I
So,
mean,
I'm like, "Whatever." So, I'm not like, "You have to, like, respond to me right away," kind of a person, like, I give you time, but as long as you eventually get back to me. But, like, he had been the one that wanted to talk off the app or whatever. And so, like, at this point, it's like pulling teeth trying to, like, have a conversation with him.
mhm.
And again, I thought he was at work, so not a big deal, whatever. But then I'm like, "Oh, how's your work day going?" He's like, "Oh, I have the day off." I'm like, "Okay." I said, "Are you working on some projects or whatever?" He's like, "No." Cool. I don't mean to be intrusive, like, whatever. Like,
But
maybe
also,
he's
like, more than one word answers are pretty cool sometimes.
right, and, like, up until we switched over, he had been, like we were having a really good conversation.
Was he being a chatty Cathy before that?
He was.
Get it? Because your name's Kathy.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first time I've thought of it, and I've known you for a zillion years.
Thanks. Anyways. So, yeah, so, like, I was just getting, like, these one-word answers back, and I'm like, "Well," and then he has the nerve to ask me, he's like, Are you gonna accept my friend's request?" And I said to him, I'm like, "Well, I don't know yet." I said, "I'm still getting to know you,"
I don't know
like,
yet, you're real
jokingly.
boring.
Right, like, I was, like, kind of joking, but, like, I mean, it was playful. I wasn't like, "Well, I don't know you yet." I don't know. And then, like, I gave my disclaimer. I said, "Just so you know, I'm kind of needy," and I text back quickly. I said, "I require a lot of attention."
It's correct, folks.
And, which, I mean, it's not I don't require a lot of
No,
attention.
you
A
acquire
reasonable amount of attention.
you I said you acquire, you require, not an exorbitant amount of attention. It's a reasonable amount of attention.
Right, like,
Like,
be able to have a conversation. Send me a TikTok, send me a
send me
funny
a
meme.
TikTok.
Like, if you're
There's
gonna
so
send me
many ways to communicate these day and ages.
right,
You can send a meme, you can send a TikTok.
right, like, we had been talking about, like, traveling and locations and bucket lists and stuff prior to this, and then, yeah, you're gonna go to one-word answers, and then, um, what was it? Oh, I asked him if he had any pets, and he, like, looked at it, and, like, 2 hours later, I sent, like, one of those, um, I don't know, emojis, like, confused. And he looked at that and still didn't respond. So then I blocked him and deleted him. I'm like, I don't play those games.
Oh my gosh.
Like, if you're busy, tell me you're busy. Don't just ignore me. Cause that's like my biggest spicy brain pet peeve. And part of my abandonment issues is this like, if you don't want to talk to me, if you don't like me anymore, just be like, hey, it's not working. And I will peace out. Like, I'm totally fine.
Well, I think you and I have kinda talked about this kind of stuff before because it's okay to have high expectations, but it's not okay to have unreasonable expectations.
Correct.
So, I feel like, you gotta find those few things that are very important to you on the list and then maybe lower your expectations in other areas. Um, but I also have told you that I think it's really important to go into these things with your expectations on the table, because that's what I did with my husband when we first started dating. And maybe this will backfire for some people, but I stand behind this. Um, I had a bunch of longer relationships, couple years, and I had never really been single, and I got to hanging out with my now husband, and we were friends, and he asked me out a bunch, and I kept saying no, I just want to be single. I'm not going to call him out too hard on here, okay? I won't tell them the whole story, but he asked me out a bunch. um and I just was like, no, I want to do my own thing. I've never been single for like a period of time before, blah blah blah. And then when I finally was like, okay, sure, let's like try this dating thing, let's be more than friends, let's date. And there was a time something happened and we sat down and I was like, dude, I'm not 18. I'm not at the point that I just want to, like, if I'm going to be in a relationship, like this needs to be
Right.
something that's going to go somewhere. I'm not
I'm
going to
not
get in
your
a relationship.
weekend hangout buddy.
Yeah. If you want to do that, tell me,
Right.
and I'll make my decision off of that. But like, that is not what I want. I want to finish school. I want to get a good job. I want to get married and I want to have kids. Like, getting married, having kids, those are the next steps in my life. And that's what I want. I've always wanted to be a mom. I've always wanted, to start building my life. I've always been anxious to do it.
All very important things that you include in your dating profile.
Now I wish I didn't wanna do all of these things because paying bills sucks real bad. But, I wouldn't trade any of it for the world. But, I said to him really early on in our relationship, I was like, "Dude, I don't play games. I don't do this thing with, like, you're talking to other girls at the same time. I'm in this for, like, if we're gonna be dating, we're both going into it going, 'We want this to work.'"
I'm giving you my attention, my
Mm, right.
100%
Yep,
attention.
yep,
I expect the same from you.
100% what we talked
It's
about.
not unreasonable
It's
if
not.
that's what you are projecting to people.
It's not, but I feel like it's probably scarier for some people to hear,
Yeah.
because their expectation of hearing that is like, "Okay, she's crazy, she already wants to get married to me." And it's like,
And
"No,
it's
I'm not."
not just to you, it's
Right,
in general, those are my goals. Like, I'm not going into it trying to date a million people to see who's gonna marry me first.
right. So, and that's kind of what, like, I think that's where you need good communication with it, because my husband was not scared off by that, and he was like, "No, I've been asking you out for 6 months, like, obviously, like, I wanna date you." And so, I mean, it worked out in our situation, but I know that, I guess I don't know 100%, but I'm assuming that when someone hears that, maybe it scares them a little bit. But also, I'm not gonna give up, finding the person that I belong with because you want to take up some of my time, and we go into this knowing, you don't want kids, and that's a no-go for me. Like, I
Right.
100% want kids, or you don't want to get married, you don't believe in marriage, or whatever it is. But those expectations and talking
I
about
don't wanna
them.
get attached to someone
Right.
who doesn't believe in that for the slightest chance
Mhm.
that
You
they're
could
gonna
change their
change
mind.
their mind.
Mhm.
Right. I'm not no, like, either we're on the same page or we're not. Like, I don't hold animosity against you. I'm not gonna freak out on you, like
Just tell me what's up.
right, and, like, I've also been in situations where I've let down my expectations, and I've waited just to get hurt or just for them to say, "I don't think we're on the same page." And that's the most frustrating thing is because I laid all this out,
Mhm.
and I let go of some of the things, and I'm still waiting around for you, like and I think that's why my expectations are where they are at this point, because I've been the girl that sat there waiting around for you all day. Like, and that's another one of my biggest pet peeves. Like, if you have plans with someone, like, you have plans with them. You don't
I
let
think
make them wait around for you when
I think though a huge part of that is, like, emotional immaturity because
Right.
people can't it's hard when you I'm sure it's extremely hard for you having to just meet random people and try and base a conversation off nothing and then try and feel this stuff out and figure out if they're actually there because they wanna meet someone or they just want, you
That's
know
a fun one too. Like icebreakers, like there's people out there that like will freak out on you because you say, "Hey, how's it going?" as an icebreaker. Well, you can't come up with anything more original? No, I can't because that's an icebreaker. That's what you say to people when you talk to them. Like, I'm not going to write you a paragraph just for you to ignore me.
I would be the worst at dating because I would be such an idiot with every icebreaker. I'd just
Like,
make up stupid stuff the whole time or, like, cheesy one-liner pickup lines, that's totally
which
what
I'm
I do.
totally fine with, but it's like people like I'm accepting of all things, whatever. But like there's people who like won't even give you the time of day because all you said was hi, how are you instead of this lengthy thing, but then they do the exact same. Like I've read profiles where people like say don't come at me with this whatever, but then they message you with that exact thing. And I'm like
Okay, if anyone is listening to this and has a better, dating app that maybe we haven't
I've
tried
tried them
over here.
all, it's awful.
Maybe there's I hate it. I hate that we're in a day and age that, like, there is nowhere for people to organically meet, because you and I have talked about this a billion times before, like, we are not bar people. We are not go out to the
No.
bar, get drunk people. That's
Well, those are all the people that are on the dating webs anyway.
right. But, like,
They're just messaging you from the bar. At least I can weed you out.
that's
Like, if
true.
you match with me at, like, midnight, you either work nights, which does not work for me, or you're sitting at the bar. No,
No,
thank you.
thank you. No, thank you.
And that's the thing, like, just why can't we all just be honest? Like, why are you gonna feed me these lines and then when I meet you in person, that's not anything that you even like to do? Or like, don't try to impress me. Like, just be yourself. Cause I'm gonna figure it out either way.
I mean, it's true. It's
Like
true.
off the bat, like that guy that I met that we went to school with, that I didn't realize we went to school with. Um, like, I read his profile, whatever, and I think my pickup line to him was, um, "I'm not that into cars, but can we still be friends?" Because, like, his whole thing was he's about cars or whatever, and he wanted a girl that liked cars. And I off the bat, I said, "I'm not that into cars, so either you wanna talk to me or you don't."
Right.
Which, whatever. I don't mind sitting in the garage. Like, I've dated plenty of guys that are, like, into cars and fixing cars, whatever. I don't mind sitting in the garage, like,
I'm not
helping
into
you.
cars, but I'll sit on my comfy chair with a beer and watch you work on cars, like, that's
Right,
cool.
right. I
We can
don't have to
chit-chat
know.
while you're
Right.
doing whatever.
Just don't put me in your car and terrify me as we're going down the road at 100 miles an hour. Sorry, I'm not a thrill seeker, that's not fun for me. He did it once, and he, like, looked at me. I'm like, "Do what you need to do, just don't kill me."
I don't understand why that's, like, a thing. That also scares me. I don't like car stuff like that, that's creepy.
Well, and there's a time and place for it. Like, don't put me in a car and try racing a Subaru on a two-lane road. Like, this isn't a racetrack, sir.
This isn't Fast and Furious, calm down.
Right,
You're
I
40
don't
years old and balding, get it together.
don't kill me, and don't kill people on the road. This is not fun for me. We're in Delafield, calm down.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
here's another fun one if we're on expectations and
oh
dating.
boy.
I got a million of them, guys. Um, so this one I said to my sister. So on this app that I'm on, like there's actually a spot like what you're looking for, like so you can put monogamy, right? What does monogamy mean to you?
Um, you're just with each other, you're faithful to your partner,
Right, right. Okay. Good.
one person and one person.
Okay. So under his has monogamy. Under his description here, I'm happily married, but looking for someone on the side.
Oh my god.
I'm like, good on you for being honest, but I don't think you understand what monogamy
I
means.
don't think that word means what you think it means. Oh my gosh. I don't
Also, if you want someone to respond to you, do not have pictures with other girls and like in every single picture on actually at all. Girls don't like seeing guys with other girls.
it's true.
Don't make it your profile.
I don't know, man. I feel like the expectations thing is something I am definitely trying to work at at
It
this
just
stage
seems
of my
like when
life.
I lower my expectations of people, I still get burned. So, so when I'm more accommodating to people, I still like I give them the benefit of the doubt because I think that my standards are too high. No, they're not.
Well, so here's the thing though, because this is something I'm trying to work on really, really hard, is saying things like that to myself. Like, if you get your hopes up,
Right,
it's just going to fail anyways. So, why are you going to get your hopes up if you leave your hopes here? Then they're not going to get destroyed and you're not going to be gutted by it going wrong or whatever, right?
right,
And I feel like that's something I'm trying to work on more of putting the positivity out there, keeping my expectations where I know they rightfully should be, not having them too high, but not lowering them too much, having
right,
them at the right level, and then staying true to what I go into thinking about those expectations. So if these expectations aren't met, then I need to do whatever. I need to move on from the situation I'm in. I need to try and do something different, whatever I go into it with thinking. Because I feel like I do get very negative about stuff like that and lower my expectations
mhm,
because I don't want to be disappointed. But there's no reward without the risk, right?
right,
And so I I'm trying really hard to get better with, at least for myself, putting myself in a mind frame of, no, you can have those expectations. Yes, this is how you want things to go,
right,
and sticking to what I actually believe instead of just lowering them because then I'm hoping that I won't get disappointed, because that's not putting good out into the universe. That's not manifesting what I want out of my life. That's making it beyond attainable, and it's not taking any sort of a risk, and it's not going to help me grow at all.
right. Well,
So that
as you higher your vibration, the people that want to stay in their lower vibrations will stay down there, and you will attract more people to your higher vibration.
every time you say vibration, I just want to start singing, got that good vibration. Sorry,
Fair.
go ahead.
That's fair. And that's on Spicy Brain.
That is a big part of my brain, is I hear anything that's a lyric from a song that, like, sticks out, and then while you continue talking, all that's going on in my
Oh,
brain is I'm
yeah,
singing that song.
for sure. Yeah, the same way. Same way.
It's so bad.
Oh, that'd be so random too.
Ridiculous. Well, I think that's something I really just wanna continue working on, is where my expectation levels should fall, what's too high of an expectation for myself and for other people.
Right.
And like you said, a big component of that is having the communication to be able to get that across to people, whether it's a team you're working with at work and saying, this is my expectation. Where do everyone else's expectations lie? Um, or if it's with a relationship or with yourself or whatever it may be. I think that's
Well,
a
yeah, because
super important thing.
everybody has a different vision
Mhm.
of whatever task or relationship goals, or I think everybody has their own vision. So I think the more you collaborate and talk about things, that puts you on a better space to say, let we can cut this out and still make it this way. Like it's easier to um piece things together to create everybody's vision when you're clear and concise about what those expectations are versus holding it inside and resenting someone because they're doing what they think their expectation of the thing is, and
Mhm.
you are overthinking and stressing because they're not meeting your expectations.
Mhm.
And I think that's what puts myself in higher stress situations is because 'cause we're biting our nails, we're stressing, we're waiting. Because some people wait till the last minute to do things, and you wanna make sure that it's getting done.
Hi, it's me. I wait till the last minute,
But, like,
but
I
it'll be
think
perfect, but it'll be the last minute.
well, right, but if you go into a situation not knowing that about someone, and then you're just stressing like, "Oh my god, like, I have to make up for this person, or I have to do this, or we're not gonna have this when we need it." Like, I think that puts a lot of extra stress on other people.
Mhm.
So I think if you can do a summary of personalities and what's expected and when it's expected, and then maybe you need to give someone an earlier date to have a goal done because that's how their brain works. Like, can you give me this by this date or this by this date? Like, break it into smaller pieces for certain people because I think that works too.
Well, because I think they did, like, growing up in school and stuff, we learned about learn to work with different people,
Right.
but I don't think it was actually giving us 100% the skill of, like, how to communicate to work with different people because
Right. Because only one person is the manager.
yeah, and so, dividing tasks or whatever it may be, it's not having the conversation of, "Hey, how do you work best? Do you feel like it would be better if we got together at a coffee shop, or do you work better by yourself at home?" Or whatever.
Right.
Because I don't think we were really taught to have those conversations. And I feel in general in society now, people are starting to talk more and more about things like having open communication and how people really feel about things, and are talking about things like mental health more openly, and things that just were taboo for so many years, and we're not able to learn and better ourselves as a group and as a society because we're not taking the time to understand that everyone's minds work a little bit different, and how to have those conversations. I'm
Yeah.
not saying you
Being
should
more
make
understanding.
yeah, I'm not saying you should make accommodations for every situation, but I'm saying there need to be specific conversations had to figure out how to keep being better at doing things, and how to be a better person, and how to be more open about things and less judgmental and all of these things.
And still not enabling someone to the point of
Mhm.
them taking advantage of it because that's not
Absolutely.
fair to the other group. Like,
Mhm.
you have a deadline. This is what needs to be done by that deadline.
Mhm.
Regardless of how you get to that deadline, you still need to meet it
Yep.
and you still need to be part of the working team.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't make expectations that are so out of bounds for other people that everyone else is stressing that it's not going to get done. And then their portion doesn't get done.
Right.
And then everyone's scrambling. So I think that expectation is, if you know ahead of time that someone has a difficult time doing those tasks, you give them smaller tasks and different timelines
Give
as a
me an
tool.
outline. I'll get it done.
Right. But some people don't.
Well, I think though that's important too to realize those things about ourselves and make the concessions for ourselves in our daily life to make those things happen. If you can work more independently, I can work pretty independently at my job. So I usually have a set schedule in my head of when I do what because
Right.
that's the way it works for me. So if you can, you know, make those concessions for yourself and figure out what you need to do for yourself, that's I think that's a huge skill to have.
Right. And I mean, and check in with people if you have a deadline. Like, check in with your partners or check in with someone and say, hey, how's it going? Do you need help with anything? Do you need more explanation on anything? I don't think it hurts. Some people might take it personally, but if it's helping the team as a whole, if that's what you need to do, just be nice about it. Like, don't be, like, overbearing about it, I think.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I know. I try.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
You're never gonna win, but, I mean,
Hey, if we can just keep building our toolbox
right.
for life, I feel like
Right.
in general we'll be happier people and
Be understanding, but also don't be afraid to put your expectations where they need to be
yeah.
and have people meet those expectations.
Yeah, what you said.
Listen, I'm not gonna put up with anyone's BS,
Get it, girl. Wow, I
but
think
I'm
that was
also
a
accommodating.
I think that was a very good expectations conversation. I'm sure all of the topics that we've talked about so far, we will talk about again in the future.
They
Um,
build upon each other. They're all
yeah, they're
interconnected.
all intertwined for sure. So if you guys have anything you would like to suggest for us to talk about next, please let us know. You can contact us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, our
You
email,
posted anything on TikTok lately?
maybe. I did this
Okay.
weekend. But I didn't have good cell service, so there's that. Um, but let us know. Let us know if there's anything you guys want us to talk about specifically, or if you want us to help you figure out something in your life, or we can tell you what we do in that circumstance. And
Feel
yeah,
free to email us, Dear Empaths letter. We will totally help you
your
out.
empaths. Oh my gosh, I love that. I'm like writing down stuff as we're talking today. So sorry if you hear my pen clicking.
Email us at empatheticvillainspodcast@gmail.com and we'll try to help you out with some stuff.
Yeah, we got you. You're a part of our
Got
crew now.
you. And as always, we wish you all a supportive healing journey and thank you for joining us for our ride. And healing ain't easy.
No, ma'am. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.